Welcome back to the JLL coaching pod. Today I'm going to talk to you about why blind hard work is simultaneously highly intelligent and stupid beyond imagination. That's the catch-22 of this all. I was sick last week, and boy, does it get me fired up to hear a couple of lads in the team rinse me for not getting that good work in while I was sick. I wasn't massively sick, little flu, headache, cold vibes, just low energy. And the boys were like, "You're soft, you're a softie, you're a kitten, and you need to get in the gym and lift some weights." And I didn't. I thought was a smart thing. I didn't, and then I got better. Just over a couple of days. I'm fine. I feel good now. I'm back, baby. I'm back. And these boys are legends. We train a couple sometimes, and we go to war. And it is what I would consider mostly blind, goddamn hard work. And I'm relieving myself of all programming, rep schemes, proximity to failure. We're just like, these are the reps, these are the weights, let's go. And sometimes that's just needed. Sometimes that is absolutely just needed. You need a break from structured training. You just need to get after those goddamn demons in your head and show them that they don't run this town. The demons are getting chased out of town by insane, crazy workouts. And that's why sometimes blind hard work is smart. Excuse the pause for drama. I had to take a little sip of coffee. Sometimes it's good for that mental break. If you've just followed a structured program and you need a little kind of chaos in your life, just doing random stuff is awesome. Just working crazy hard is awesome. For that mental break. When does it become stupid though? I'm getting emotional. When does it become stupid though? Because I would actually say most people in the gym, it's hard to say, but you see a big crowd of people in the gym who just show up and do some random bits. I've been guilty of that in the past. You have another group of people who are just exceptionally structured, and this is just the nature of human beings. You have differences, and that's absolutely fine. You have these differences and they're going to do different things, but there's probably bits you can take from both of those groups, the highly structured, the highly ordered, and the total chaos. For me, hard work, there's a variety of different ways you can work hard. Now, David Goggins is one example, and you can't really ever say he doesn't work hard. You can't really say that because the man is just disgusting. The amount he runs and cycles and trains, it's like 10 hours a day. It's horrible. But for the normal human being, and generally, there's two types of hard in my opinion. This is how I like to categorize it. There's easy hard, where it's just like, this is going to be hard work and it's easy to do and I don't have to think and it's just kind of flip a switch and go. And then you have hard. And that for me is where the gains are made and where real adaptations occur. And we're going to discuss the two. So, hard for the sake of being hard. For example, just going on an air bike and doing max calories in a minute. That's just disgusting. That is horrible. Another way, what I want to think of is like just loading up the barbell as heavy as possible for a back squat. That's hard. But it's easy. It's easy hard. What is hard? For me, hard is doing things to the correct level of stimulus for the outcome that you're looking for. These hard, easy examples I've just given, the outcomes you're going to get from that probably aren't optimal with regards to where you want to go, who you want to be, and that kind of thing. because you're just showing up and doing something extremely hard, and it'll probably feel good. Well, it will feel terrible, but subjectively after you've done the hard work, you'll feel good. But long term, with regards to physiological adaptations, how your body is actually changing, is it trending in the right direction? I'll take Goggins for an example. So I don't know his training program. I'm going to take an imaginary Goggins, like what I imagine Goggins to be doing for his training. So say he's going to do an ultra marathon for I think he's run around a track for 24 hours. I would imagine his idea of training for that is just run as much as possible every single day. And that is easy. You're not really thinking about the adaptations you're going to need. You're just kind of like driving yourself into a pit and just doing the hard work. That's straightforward and easy. But probably he would get a better outcome at that race if he had the occasional day where he's just cycling instead of running. Less impact, can get a really good stimulus on his cardiovascular system. On another day, he's probably lifting in a certain way that's biased towards running. That slight mixture of hard things, rather than just the hard, easy run as much as you can every single day until you die, will probably lead to higher outcomes, better outcomes with regards to the performance that you're looking for. Now, sometimes I just like to lift for let's just go. And I'm not looking for any adaptation. I'm just I need it. You know what I mean? It's the psychological output. It's that psychological, just let it go. Music's on. Let's push. Let's go to war. And that's fine. But for me, managing your psychological well-being should probably be done outside of the gym. Yes, the gym will help. Yes, physical activity and taking care of yourself will 100% help. But you need to manage your psychological state in all areas of your life in a manner that is healthy and sustainable. So just relying on the gym is probably not the best bet, because there are going to be times you can't always go to the gym. It's probably not dealing with the issues themselves. There's probably needs to be a bit of work done directly on the issues, the back end of why you're having psychological troubles anyway. So for me, the gym we're there, yes, because it has meaning, it suits our lifestyle, it suits who we want to be. We're there to become a different human being, and the gym helps us facilitate that, as well as performance-driven outcomes. So the gym is a place for you to challenge yourself, get better, and cause adaptations. You're looking to change. You're looking to become something that you're not. For me anyway, when I'm in the gym, it's part of my job, it's part of my career, and I'm looking to create something different. This is why I'm let's pursue personal bests. Let's try and hit personal best, better than you've ever been before, all the time. That's the fucking target. That's what you need to work towards. And generally, I don't think there's any ifs and buts around that. Of course, there is a grey area and nuance, but you need to be pushing. You want to become a better version of yourself, and the gym is a great way to facilitate that. So having a lens of just blind hard work might not be the best way to get these good outcomes that you're looking for from the gym, to pursue these PBs. And there's a few things I would think about. So Mike Israetel's popularized the stimulus to fatigue ratio, and you could apply that to any physiological outcome: endurance, aerobic training, anaerobic training, how strong you are with a 1 rep max power clean, how strong you are with a 6 rep max barbell bench press, how much muscle tissue you have gained over XYZ period. You can apply the stimulus to fatigue ratio to any physiological outcome. Some will be harder to measure than others, but you can apply that stimulus to fatigue ratio. And just going hard, training, running, for example, this example I gave with David Goggins, where he just runs all day, every day, with the idea of he's going to perform well in an event. There is just a lot of fatigue on some systems in the body, and he's never really pulling back or adjusting any levers as he's moving through his training cycle there. Now, that's probably leaving gains on the table, because sometimes you want to isolate, say, your tendons and your ligaments, and you want to train them. Sometimes you want to isolate your muscular system. Sometimes you want to isolate or bias your aerobic system. And you can probably create those systems. You can adapt those systems to a higher standard when you isolate them. So when the sum of your parts are greater than them all individually, but you still want to work on them all individually to keep driving overall performance and adaptations. So with something simple, I say it's simple, like a running event, is because you have a lot of things in control rather than a complex sport like football or rugby. That's harder to account for all the factors. Running in a 24-hour race it's more manageable. There's one individual that you got to look after, and it's just their physiological behaviors and things like that. That's easier, in my opinion. And you can pull out all of these different independent physical qualities and create the best adaptations with thinking about the stimulus to fatigue ratio along the way. So say you stimulate and also fatigue the cardiovascular system on one day. You do a hard day on the bike. You do a few hours, loads of zone 2, and that system needs some time to recover. On that next day, you could then go and bias the musculoskeletal system. You can do things that are good for running economy, a lot of plyos, a lot of great just standard strength training, resistance training in the gym, to work on the other systems in the body that need adaptations for a 24-hour race. You need to have good ligaments and good tissues that can survive the demands of a race. So on the next day, you can go and work on that and give that stimulus and fatigue, while the cardiovascular fatigue potentially comes down. And across this cycle, across this week of training, we've done a couple days, the central fatigue, the total fatigue that your body is managing, as well as the acute fatigue in these local systems, is slowly rising. And that needs to be managed over time. You can't just go hard and expect not to have any consequences. In any complex dynamic system, there are trade-offs to every single decision and action that is made. They need to be accounted for when you are trying to drive physiological adaptations. So this is why you can't just work hard blindly. It's more intelligent to figure out what exactly you're trying to change and the best way to change it for you. And in order to do that, you need to figure out what is the outcome you're looking for, break down some key performance indicators. This could be things like pain, certain tests. It could be strength tests, running tests, cardiovascular tests. It could be a variety of things, and measure those across time. Are we chipping away and moving towards these potential key performance indicators, or are we moving away? Just going in the gym and doing random things that are challenging without any kind of outcome, it leaves a lot of unknowns and potentially creates a lot of space for things that aren't negative or positive, but they probably could have a negative consequence on the rest of your training. I've brought this up as well, partly because my ego has been tested. My fragile ego has been challenged because when I was sick, I didn't train. But that's an example for me when the general fatigue in my body is like, hey, mate, you need a couple days. Because if you do anything, your head's going to start hurting and then you won't be productive in other areas of your life. You need to take a step back in order to take a step forward. That's okay. That's good. And that is just like a macro clear picture that I think everyone can relate to. When you are sick, it's an example of fatigue in the body. But that goes on a more acute and harder to see level day in, day out. That's where things like, a heart rate variability tracker can help you out with making decisions, how hard you should train, when is it a good time to train, and you can avoid things like sickness. It'd be like, I didn't sleep well the last 10 days. I should probably pull it back in and make good calculated decisions. You don't want your training to be emotionally driven per se. As I said, the psychological well-being should be managed outside of the gym setting. It will have a consequence on your psychological state. Naturally, everything does, but it shouldn't be the only answer. It should be intellectually driven, predominantly, if you're looking for performance outcomes in the gym. Again, there's a lot of nuance here, and you could argue either way that sometimes you just want to train to feel good. But there are probably other things that you want to do and would rather do to feel good. So generally, it's a better way. There's better things to do. So just treat your training, ideally, as predominantly, I'm here to make adaptations so I can change and become a different person and become who I want to be. Blind hard work. With regards to certain training outcomes, like specificity is very important to drive these individual physiological adaptations. You're not going to become a better sprinter if you don't sprint. You're not going to become a better bench presser if you don't bench press. You've got to do the damn thing. That's basically specificity. And blind hard work, because it's blind by nature, you can miss out on a lot of this principle of specificity to drive these adaptations. My favorite example here is, like, say you want to get bigger in the gym. People just think you can go in and work hard and get good outcomes. That is mainly true. And I think of it like as the IQ curve. You've got this IQ curve, one very low proportion of low IQ, very low proportion of super high IQ, and then the person in the middle. And the low IQ and the high IQ are like, just train hard. That's all you need to do. And in reality, it is. But there's different levels of training hard. So just going in and doing like 3x10 on a dumbbell bench press and killing yourself there, or not killing yourself there, but just working hard, but it feels subjectively hard. For me, what's missing with this blind hard work is the key performance indicator, how are we measuring what is hard? Just because it's psychologically tough, does that what makes something hard? If you're trying to challenge your psychological grit and determination and discipline, then yeah, fair enough. If you want to change physically, you need a different metric. So for building muscle, for example, you need a close proximity to failure. Now, sets get hard way before you get to that close proximity to failure. This is a lot of variables. Like, it does depend on your tissue type, your experience in the gym, how strong you are, the rep scheme you're working with. But generally, your sets will probably get pretty challenging when you're like 10 reps away from failure, potentially. 8, 6, definitely. But the last 5 reps are brutal, realistically. Anyone will tell you that if they're going to failure and it's like they're grinding out, shaking to the bitter end, it's bloody difficult. Going in with blind hard work, it is hard work, yes, but are you ever going to complete failure in that certain system that you're trying to adapt? Or is your cardiovascular or your psychological system too fatigued to actually get anywhere close to that musculoskeletal adaptation? So the point of this podcast was, yes, to have a little ramble, because the fragile ego was crushed when I was sick, couldn't train, it was sad. And it was also to think why we train, what outcomes are you looking for, what drives your training, is it psychological well-being or physiological outcomes? That's the big conversation here. I hope you got value from this episode. please drop in some comments, and I want to hear like other people's arguments for this chat. Thanks for listening. I hope you have a lovely day. Bye bye.